Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zarrell. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. And joining us this week is Zach Covemaker. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, everyone's a critic podcast.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle's CriticsPod. Listen to us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. Subscribe to the show, rate, review the show. We're also on YouTube. If you search Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast or Critics Pod, we do record live Sunday mornings or Monday evenings. Randomly, you'll never know. So click on the subscribe, the little bell in the right-hand corner, I believe it is. Maybe it's the left. One of the corners, there's a bell. Click on it, and it'll tell you when you'll get a notification when we're going live. And subscribe there as well. We'll try to read comments better. There has been some good ones over the last few months. And then Patreon. Patreon.com/criticspod is the best way to help support the podcast. But we also have TeePublic merch. If you search Critics Pod or Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast at TeePublic, you'll get our stuff. Or go to ihatecritics.net and click on the TeePublic link in the right-hand corner. You can get yourself shirts. I got these notepads, my little Batman vs. Jesus notepad I'm working with right now. It's the Willem Dafoe one. It's back here. All sorts of stuff. Mugs. I'm the stereotype of the podcaster who lives with his parents in the basement as I'm looking at myself in the... This is literally all the junk I own. I don't own anything else. So I'm not... I mean, I don't watch Wanda Vision and Mandalorian and all that garbage. So, speaking of...
You monster. You monster.
Apparently, WandaVision is something's going on there.
It's a TV show on Disney Plus, and it's from the Marvel universe, and it's featuring characters from the movies. Bob.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It's important to the story. Good luck watching Doctor Strange now, son.
You know that's a significant concern that Bob has watching Doctor Strange.
Oh, I know.
So WandaVision.
I saw the single tear come down the cheek.
WandaVision ended this past Friday, and it ended on, I don't know, not a great note for me. I like the series a lot, but there's a lot of wheel spinning in this. For those who haven't watched it, like Bob, just Wanda Maximoff has taken an entire town hostage, turned it into her sort of fantasy world where she's brought Vision back to life. And they live in this sort of sitcom fantasy that changes week after week. So it starts off as this pastiche on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then it becomes Bewitched. It becomes Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, all throughout, all different episodes. Just kind of taking off on something that happened in her life where she was kind of clinging to childhood memories of sitcoms and the perfection that sitcoms embodied. Clever idea, clever concept, and very well executed. And it creates a great deal of mystery and suspense early on. And throughout, I was really impressed with the acting and with Olsen especially. I think she's pretty incredible throughout this. The ending though left me kind of cold, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think it kind of got built up too much for me, and by the time it reached the ending, I was just like, "That's it."
So what happens?
Yeah,
everybody saw it.
I get that. I'm
It basically ends with her winning. Obviously, good beats evil, but
yeah. But good could turn into evil because they introduced a Marvel artifact called the Darkhold that's it could end up teaching her a bunch of crazy dark ass shit. I'm excited.
I don't know anything about that, and I didn't care
point.
in the least.
I cared. I got a bit of a pop out of that,
See,
but I also
Bob,
understand.
This is what you'd hate about this show, is that there's so much research that would go into having to watch it.
Right.
Like you have to go in and read about all the Easter eggs to get the entire universe. And I didn't mind some of that stuff, but I didn't do any of the research. I didn't do any of the extra reading, Zach.
I understand. I understand. We've had many discussions about that in the past. No, I get you. No, there's a lot of stuff in there there was a lot of me explaining stuff to like my girlfriend and a couple of my friends. So I'm not gonna say that it's the most clear thing, but like one of my favorite things that Marvel likes to do is take these stories that really aren't superhero stories. They're more just like character based. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy it. I like more the superhero in a normal everyday situation type deal. And the fucking Malcolm in the Middle episode, I was just like grinning ear to ear the whole time because that was stupid. It's just superheroes going trick or treating. I'm in. Like, that's kind of like my whole thing. And yeah, but there was a lot of. I feel like there was this had the problem that like the Last Jedi had, but it wasn't as bad. It was just, I think, fan speculation got so high that it was like kind of impossible to reach. Like, I mean, I won't fully spoil this, but the Ralph Boner thing, I laughed so goddamn hard, but also like I can imagine someone just trashing their mom's basement. Like that was fucking brilliant.
Ralph Boner, Bob. To explain this not particularly great joke, they brought back Quicksilver, who, of course, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character was killed in Age of Ultron, but they didn't bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson. They brought back the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, played by Evan Peters, and had him come back as Quicksilver. Of course, that's Wanda's brother. And she was very confused by that. She didn't know where that came from. And it did create a great deal of intrigue. But the payoff is that he was just being controlled by the overall villain who took this guy named Ralph Boner and had him be Quicksilver to screw with her. And really what it did, though, is really screw over fans of the X-Men universe who like that character.
Well, he died too, right?
I know. The whole time
Did he? I don't remember.
No, he ended up. He was alive at the end of that. The Dark
dumb.
Phoenix. I think.
Well said, Bob.
That movie is just like a gray blob at this point.
I haven't seen that either. I don't know. I knew there was two different guys who played that role. That's all.
Yeah, Ralph Boner was not exactly a great payoff for me. I don't care if there's some sort of meaning to the Marvel universe for that. Ralph Boner did not.
Not at all. Not at all.
It felt cheap. It felt like for a show that is building a lot of interesting stuff going on to end that particular part of it that way. It just felt like a big middle finger to Fox, which you own Fox. Why are you throwing up a middle finger at Fox?
Because
in my defense, my Xbox Live name is Bunghole, so a boner joke is way up my wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah. So like I said, the thing about it is, after a while, that the sitcom pastiches were fascinating and really well done, really well performed, and they created a great deal of suspense. After a while, though, it does feel like repetition and spinning your wheels. And even once the show did finally reveal what was going on, it's still a lot of it just left me cold. It was a satisfying experience while I was in it and watching it, especially the first 3 or 4 episodes. But as it went on, I got less and less excited, less interested. And by the end, I was really kind of bummed just how I thought it was kind of really overhyped in the end.
Kevin Smith cried, so.
Oh, so it was something with the Marvel logo on it.
Right. Is there anything else regarding TV shows that people watch that we want to talk about? We never did talk about Mandalorian.
I have nothing to. I didn't watch that, so I have no idea.
Oh,
hey, good job.
We got Luke Skywalker.
Was Evan Peters Luke Skywalker?
Yeah. No.
I was like, really? You were like, yeah.
No.
Sometimes the lag is good.
Yeah, I have a feeling there might be a lot of lag on my end.
It could make for fun jokes later, though.
Got that CenturyLink.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Let's get,
yeah.
Anything else before we start the show?
No, that's that for that. We can. Well, I think Zach did see SpongeBob.
I got that later on.
Okay, good.
All right. So let's start with the big movie this week, Coming to America. The sequel.
I get it. There's a number 2 instead of the word 2. I get it. This movie's funny. No, it's not. I'm Coming to America 2 with Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, and all the originals back, along with Wesley Snipes in a rare new role, and along with Leslie Jones. Story goes that somehow Eddie Murphy's character was raped, and that was a birth that led to a baby being born 30 years ago. That's his son. He needs to have a son because he's royalty and all that stuff. So he goes back to New York to find the kid. He finds him, brings him back. Everything that happens in this movie is very predictable. Every joke, right down to every joke, is pretty predictable. This is bad. I'm sorry. I have the same problem with this that I have with the last Bill and Ted movie. It just felt like we're just playing the greatest hits. Just roll out Freebird one more time. Like just keep playing the hits over and over again. Remember this character? Remember we did this character? Remember I wore that makeup? Remember I wore that costume? Yeah, it's funny, right? That's funny that I did that then. Isn't it funny now that I'm doing it again? No. No, do something else. Do something actually funny. And nothing funny happens here. It's just more microwave nostalgia.
I thought it was better than that. I don't think it's amazing, but I mean, it's definitely nothing but nostalgia. But I thought it was better done than Bill and Ted was. I mean, one, you brought everybody back as opposed to recasting people. That right away was a plus. And I mean, it was similar when he did Saturday Night Live. I enjoy those characters. I enjoy watching him do that stuff. It's better than some of the other shit he does. So I didn't mind it. I enjoyed the nostalgia worked for me. Again, it's not, nor is it trying to be anything other than that. So for what it's trying to be, I thought it worked. I had no problem with it. It's not, again, it's not the original by any means, but it was good fan service. So, and it wasn't pretending like it wasn't fan service like The Force Awakens. It was doing it on purpose, and it was trying to do what it was, and I thought it was fine. They put it on Amazon for free. Good for them. I mean, I don't know. It was what it was. I always enjoy seeing Leslie Jones doing things. It's cool to see Wesley Snipes being goofy again. I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm sure coming up into the 90s, we're going to be getting a lot of that here. So I don't know. I had no problem with it. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I'm with Sean on this one. Like, I was kind of into it the first 45 minutes or so, but then when they went back and then there was the just way too long music number, that's when I was pretty much on Twitter the rest of the time. It was so bad. The most interesting thing that happened to me in that hour and 48 minutes, I kept looking at the time because I kept wanting it to end. The only exciting thing that happened in that time period was seeing that Kurt Angle is teasing something in wrestling, and I really hope he's not showing up on AEW tonight. That's it. The rest, I'm a massive fan of the original. I watched it right beforehand to kind of keep myself in a good mood. I even had a few beers trying to keep myself in a good mood. And no, man, I needed that. I needed people yelling the word fuck at Eddie Murphy every 2 minutes. I needed that R-rated grit that first one had. This one was just, nah, it didn't do it to me. This was not a fun time.
It's entirely bereft of any type of invention. I mean, Morgan Freeman makes an appearance. What do you know? And of course, what joke are we doing? He's narrating somebody's life. Look, because this joke has never been done before. I mean, come on. When is this going to stop? I get it. Morgan Freeman voices a lot of different things. Fine, whatever. That joke is so hacky. Even if you have Morgan Freeman there, it's still a hack fucking joke. And I'm sorry, I expect more from somebody who is known to be a comic genius in Eddie Murphy instead of him doing a joke that Mike Myers did in The fucking Love Guru. Come on. You're better than this. Stop wasting my time. Do something original. Give me one original joke. The whole plot comes down to he brings the boy home, and now he's got his son. He's got a son who's going to become king because the royalty has to have a male heir. But of course, he's got the very capable daughter, and he's going to learn a valuable lesson about being more open and changing society and blah blah blah. And fuck this movie. Good God. I mean, really. Do something original. One thing. Give me one original joke.
It was a gentle and pleasant nostalgia. I mean, it's a sequel. Right? I mean, right away, it's not original. So, I mean, it wasn't trying to be anything other than that. So,
sequels can be good.
Sequels can be good. There's nothing wrong with this, and that's what the problem is. It's like
there's a lot wrong with it.
No, it's your problem with it is it's safe. It's not that it's bad; it's safe, and then because of that, you don't want to. It isn't like the first one was edgy. There was grit, like Zach was saying. This one's just a very safe popcorn nostalgia movie, and it's nothing more than that. And he gets a lot of credit for being a comic genius, but for what he was going for, he pulled it off. It just he wasn't going for much, just going for nostalgia, and on that level it works. I don't think it's amazing by any means, but it wasn't that hard to sit through. It wasn't, you saw everything come in. It was gentle and pleasant nostalgia.
Let me ask you this, the classic Gene Siskel, is this movie more interesting than watching the same group of people just hang out and have dinner together? I don't think it is. I think that would be much more interesting to watch this group of people have dinner together than to watch them do this movie.
But you can't do that because they're playing different characters. And then if you do put the different characters there, then you got this movie.
No, I'm talking about these actors.
I know. I understand that, but part of it is the fact that you can't do that because these actors are playing a million characters in it, and so that theory goes out the window.
I don't know what you mean. Eddie Murphy, just get a room. Give me a room with Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes.
I understand what you're saying, but that's not what this movie is. I mean,
put them all together in a room having dinner together. That's more interesting than this movie is.
I know, but it's not relevant to this. I don't know that. To me, that argument doesn't work when he's playing multiple characters. So I
don't know what the characters have to do with anything. The actors are more interesting than anything in this movie.
It's a safe movie, and it's fine for what it is.
It's bad. It's straight up bad.
Nothing wrong with it other than being safe.
Does Eddie Murphy know how weed works? Because that was
apparently for him,
all
weed
Hollywood,
is a roofie.
They're just like, and then they're like raped or something, or they see like unicorns. Like, it's just Hollywood. Come on. I will say this though. I know we've been shitting on it. Leslie Jones was a delight. I enjoyed seeing her. I want to see a movie with just her and Tracy Morgan. I don't even give a fuck if it's these characters. I don't care. I want more of them on screen. They were like probably the only fun parts of that. Like, everything else just made me like really sad that I watched this instead of going to watch UFC.
I think your average audience is going to like the nostalgia version of it. The critical audience is definitely not, because it's not. There's nothing special about it. But I do think the average audience is going to be like, "Oh, this is fun, good little memory," and it might make them go watch the original again.
Full disclosure, I don't love the original.
I do
either. So
I had a poster the size of my wall in our bedroom. All right.
It's like Comedy Central used to play that, Trading Places, and the Royal Tenenbaums like constantly. I love that movie, man. I love Coming to America. That is like a huge chunk of my childhood.
What was the Trading Places reference in this movie, though? What was that about? Just sort of random, out of nowhere skit with Colin Jost.
A lot of Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Family Guy type humor. Where
Yeah.
it's kind of random. But, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to Moxie, the Netflix movie directed by Amy Poehler.
Moxie is directed by Amy Poehler, and tells the story of a girl who kind of sort of wakes up to the sexism of her school for the very first time. And this is via another character who arrives at her school and is being terribly mistreated by people, specifically by the most popular guy in school. She sees this, and it begins to kind of awaken something in her head that that there is a baked in sort of sexist angle to this school, to the way that people treat each other, the way people talk to each other. And finally, she just kind of has enough of it. She creates this zine, this little tiny handout magazine that she puts into the girls' bathroom, and girls start reading it and start having this similar thoughts, and a group of them come together. They're sharing more of these thoughts and more of these things that are bothering them, and it grows into a movement where it's going to ride towards an ending that is not particularly well earned or well executed, but overall, I think this is a good movie. It made me laugh, but it also has a lot of very essential things to think about, and little tiny microaggressions that people have let go for so very, very long, and we've allowed boys will be boys to be an attitude that has lasted for far too long. And this is a movie. This is a real big middle finger to the boys will be boys attitude that has pervaded our society and especially our school systems for decades. And that, at the very least, made this movie incredibly valuable to me, if not a great movie. Because again, towards the end, it takes this turn. At the very end, they introduce this sexual assault angle that is not well earned. This is not a movie that has enough substance to it to go to that point. And that kind of was a little much. But overall, I thought this movie was really good.
I thought it was fine. I agree with everything you're saying about what it's about, but it made it a heightened reality, which kind of took all which I think proves your point towards the end, takes a lot of the substance out of it, which then you lose, that ending doesn't work because of it. If you did this movie in like Elections tone, that movie, this would have been like the movie, like you're talking about it for years to come. Otherwise, this is just in a safe word I want to use, a too safe girl power movie, which nothing's wrong with it. It's entertaining. Amy Poehler is always, I like her sense of humor. She's a good writer. I mean, I thought she was a competent director. I mean, yeah, maybe you went a little too, you didn't quite earn the end, but I mean, it works as a watchable movie. But I think it's just a little safe, and it could have been, if you had more realistic conflict instead of this heightened reality where everybody gets along, except it made me want something else as opposed to what it is, and that's not fair to the movie. But I would just say it's fine, it's good, but it's not great, and it could have been great. I mean, it could have been a movie talked about for years had they taken the reality from heightened to more, what it is right now, for real. Yeah.
That said, I liked a lot of the things that this movie at least touches upon.
Right.
Like, there's one aspect that and I know I'm not qualified to talk about it from my perspective, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. There's this bit about a girl who wears who's developed a little bit faster than the other girls. She's got relatively large breasts for a teenager. She's wearing a strappy shirt, and she gets in trouble for that. They want to send her home and tell her that she's violating the dress code or whatever. And the point of that is to blame her for the sexual feelings of others. And that is something that we've done to women for decades. We always place this burden on them. On what they do is the problem, not what men do. Not a man who's just staring at her and constantly sexualizing her. It's not his fault. He doesn't have to change his behavior. She has to change hers, and that is a fucked up thought that has lasted for far too fucking long.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of things and part of the problem is it takes little things like that, which are actually bigger things, but they bring all of that to this movie. There's little scenes like that throughout. Some of it is a little. I mean, I don't know. Again, if you bring it back down to reality, some of it just gets more powerful and the conflict's more real. And it just would have been so good. Early on, there's a scene where they do a list of who's the most bangable, has the biggest chest, who has the nicest ass, who's this, who's that, and I like the way they do it. It makes the audience satisfied, but in reality, there's a handful of girls that are going to be like excited about that list, and you need to have that dynamic. And I don't, that brings it back to reality, and then it brings a real conflict there. And I think this movie could have just been phenomenal, like election quality good, and that's where I'm getting hung up on it. Right. But again, it is pleasing to the audience, and it is a good movie, and I like the themes of it. And part of me, maybe it's more important to show up this way because there isn't a lot of that female conflict within each other, which is a good thing. Because it does make the movie, it does help the movie work. And the guy stuff's over the top and heightened too. And then it does go somewhere that, I don't know. I like it. I just, part of me wants, election, and this could have been that.
Yeah. It's super watchable, but yeah, it doesn't have the weight. It doesn't take out the weight to carry the bigger themes. It doesn't have enough bite to it. It could have a lot more bite to it. And especially that ending, it didn't earn that. It really didn't. I
mean, in Marcia Gay Harden's character compared to like Connie Britton in Promising Young Woman,
yeah,
I guess Promising Young Woman is kind of more, and that's over the top. That's more of that almost takes it to a genre level. So that's different, I guess. But that, if you kind of took a little bit of that movie and put it in here and just gave it a little more depth, this could have been something special. Instead, it's, I'll say gentle and pleasant, I guess. It's definitely pleasing for the audience, and it doesn't challenge you too much. But I guess it does in a way. It's worth seeing. You should definitely watch it, especially with your kid, if you have kids and young boys and girls. I'm assuming you didn't get to see it, Zach, or have you?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I might end up checking it out. I do like me some Amy Poehler and kind of like watching stuff that she's a part of, so might end up checking it out. But no, I actually forgot that this was coming out this weekend.
I don't know if Sean's right. All right, let's move on to the next movie. For $30 on Disney Plus, the 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, Raya and the Last Dragon. Sean, how much did you hate this? Like, I'm reading everywhere. Literally every review is like positive, and I'm like, not only did he not like it, he tore it apart.
It's fine for little kids. It's great for little kids. Raya and the Last Dragon is the story of Raya, who is raised as a warrior who is trained to take care of this crystal that is the crystal created by dragons that keeps the big bad Drew away. Is it Drew? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, the bad guy, the bad evil cloud thing that turns people to stone. That ends up getting broken after she gets tricked into leading somebody to it, and the bad guys come back. They turn her father to stone, and she's got to go on a quest to reassemble the crystal and find the last dragon who could actually use that crystal to then stop the big bad. Fairly standard adventure story. Again, not very hard to understand at all. What I'm tired, I guess what the problem is that I've seen this story like 1,000 times, and this doesn't really do anything different to really make that any more interesting. I've seen adventure stories before. I've seen girls as warriors before, and I know I'm gonna get a little heat for this. I thought Mulan was a better movie than this, and I know a lot of people think this is better than Mulan. A lot of people say that Mulan is very problematic. I don't know. I liked Mulan. I thought that was a better movie. They're not the same movie. It's just a different movie, but I think Mulan, the live action Mulan, is a better movie than this. More enjoyable, but that's a movie though that's made for more of a broader age audience. This is made for little kids who've never seen these tropes before, and that's the main part of it. Is that I've seen all of the action beats of this. I've seen all of the comedic beats of this, and there's nothing new here for me because I've seen this 1,000 times. The animation is gorgeous. It is a beautiful to look at movie. The animation is absolutely flawless. And I cannot fault that at all. It's just there's nothing to me very original about the story and about the adventure and about warrior cultures and all that stuff. Just nothing there that's particularly new or interesting to me. And so I did bag it for that because I felt like, yeah, I've seen this way too much. A little kid, my goddaughter who's 9, who hasn't seen a lot of movies, this would probably be very appealing to her and she'll probably like it a great deal. Just not for me, which I think I thought I acknowledged that relatively well.
Yeah. I love that I don't know if you're meaning it, but it comes off like this little dig at critics. If you're 9, this is great. I mean, obviously I didn't watch it. We were excited to, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, this is one of those $30 Disney Plus movies. And then I read Sean's review and I was like, fine, this would be great. I don't have to watch it now. And then I was getting all this together and I'm like, holy shit, this is like acclaimed, certified fresh. What the hell is going on here? But again, I get what you're saying. And there's nothing wrong with reviewing it honestly like that as opposed to... But I mean, I'm assuming they were praising the animation as...
I would assume so. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I've seen it all before. I've seen too many movies. I've already seen 80 movies this year. It's March 7th.
I wonder what you thought of this one. Tell me you didn't watch it.
Turns out, I didn't realize I don't have Hulu.
You have Disney Plus and you don't have Hulu?
I don't have Hulu. Yeah.
It's supposed to come with Disney Plus.
I have a friend's Disney Plus.
So I did watch it. Man, this is a Josh Adams needs to be here to explain this one. This is one of those time travel video game type movies where, like Edge of Tomorrow, where he just keeps repeating the day trying to beat the level. And the level saves the world. I mean, it's clever enough. It was entertaining enough. I mean, you've seen it before in Edge of Tomorrow, and I mean, even you got the Groundhog Day movies. It's Mel Gibson's a good enough bad guy. This guy's a good enough. He's got enough chemistry. What's the word? Chemistry. That's the right word. Charisma. Naomi Watts designed this thing that I don't fully understand. That's why Josh needs to be here. It's all about the time continuum, whatever you want to call that garbage. And she uses him, her ex-boyfriend, as the key ingredient for it to work. And so in order for the world to end, he has to die or something like that, or to save the world. Either way, it's just kind of neat how he kind of keeps repeating the day and learning new things. He keeps getting to a certain spot and dying all the time. He can't get past this one part of the day. And then he just kind of learns a little bit every time he does it again. And it's interesting enough. But
is it funny, or is it have a sense of humor or anything?
I guess a little bit, but it's more of fun action. So on that level, I mean... It's, man, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the best movie of the ones we talked about so far. Moxie's probably better because at least it has more of a powerful subject matter. But this is the most fun so far. Coming to America was too. I liked it more than you guys, but again, I'm saying it's definitely safe and it's easy to watch. It's entertaining. It's worth watching, unless you just absolutely hate Mel Gibson, which is a fair point. And if you do, you're not going to like it.
So he's in a lot of it, then?
Not really, but he's still Mel Gibson's in it. I mean, Armie Hammer wasn't in that Crisis movie. What, a third of it, right? So people shit on that movie because of him being in it.
Yeah.
As you and I have both talked to the director this week. I kind of feel bad for that guy. You're finally getting to do a movie, and then you're working with great big name actors, and then one of them has a scandal in the middle of a pandemic when it's supposed to come out. That's not fair to anybody involved. But
that's a good movie too. Crisis is a good movie. It's unfortunate that a lot of people are reviewing Armie Hammer and not the movie.
But I'd recommend it for a certain audience.
Yes, Zach.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out. Frank Grillo is usually a good time. Like he's just kind of like that action hero that Gerard Butler wanted to be, where he can easily just kind of blend in and kick ass, but he doesn't have to be like fucking Gerard Butler.
That is
like,
a great point.
I like the guy.
That's what makes this entertaining, I think, is his charisma. If it was Gerard Butler, this would be a piece of shit. Just because it would have been too much.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Frank Grillo fucking saved The Purge. Like he brought it back. Like this guy's great. I want to check this out. This is another one that, like, other than seeing like banner ads on YouTube, I don't think it was really even on my radar. But I might have to check that out.
All right, let's move on. Sophie Jones.
Sophie Jones, yes. This is the story of a 16-year-old girl named Sophie who is dealing with the death of her mother and also kind of her sexual awakening for the first time. And she's trying to deal with a lot of these big issues now without the person she would normally turn to talk about this particular situation. And that creates a very unique dynamic for a movie. She's not somebody who deals with grief in the way that you might think. She's not... you expect a teenage girl to be weeping, all that, and she doesn't do that. That's not how she's reacting. Not right now. Maybe down the road someday that's going to be her. She's going to see something have something happen, and she's going to break down and cry. But throughout this movie, she's just kind of pondering the idea that her mom's not here, and now she's looking for approval, and she's looking for love in various different ways and different forms. And she's doing so without a roadmap. And it's fascinating to watch. This character, played by Jessica Barr, is extraordinary to watch. She's just so different. And I was really, really moved by her and how unique she is. The way she talks about boys and the way she discusses with these boys how she's feeling. And she's very honest. She thinks she wants to have sex, but she doesn't really know that she wants to have sex. And she doesn't know why she wants to have sex, and she wants to kind of explore why she wants to do it and what is it about. And part of it is just about being appreciated or just finding some sort of something to fill the void of this love this unconditional love that one would get from a mother. And to put that into the dynamic of a 16-year-old girl who's now also exploring sexuality, it definitely it creates this very unique and very different drama that I don't feel like I've ever seen anything quite like it, even as these are very recognizable, grounded characters. And I just really loved that about this, that they've come at the drama of grief and loss in a way that I don't think any other movie ever has, at least in my experience. That's why I love movies like this, to have this very unique perspective. And Jessie Barr is a really terrific director She's kind of got a laid back vibe throughout this movie that you keep expecting these big, dramatic, emotional moments, and she doesn't go for those. She's just going for something that's much more grounded, but also just as moving if you're looking at it from the right perspective.
That's cool. I mean, that's like you said. That's what we're looking for. Is all these movies so far we've talked about, we've seen before.
Yeah.
And this is something new and fresh, and it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's for now until some dickhead goes and tries to ruin it. But yeah, that's cool. I did not get to see this one. I wish I would have.
I definitely recommend it. Nicole Holofcener is a terrific. She's the executive producer here, not the director, but she's got a track record of movies like this where she takes a look at young women from a very unique perspective.
All right, Zach. The SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run.
All right. Either of you guys watch this at all?
No.
Assume not. So,
you're a grown-ass man. What is this SpongeBob movie like?
All right, so look.
I really like weed.
Go over there, you can talk that shit, man. No comment. No, so SpongeBob's been around pretty much my whole life. It came out when I was 6. I remember watching it. I will always love this shit. So this is the third SpongeBob movie, and they decided to take it in 3D animation this time. They decided to take it a different route. I was a little I'm not gonna lie. I thought that this was just gonna be like a lame cash grab because they've got some CGI show coming out on Paramount Plus where they're like kids, and this is supposed to be tied in. Nah, man. This shit was fun. It was a good time. It was dumb. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it's the best movie ever. It's not. The first two are way better, but the way they animated everything, they nailed that shit. They nailed the that old school feel. It was the same dumbass story we've all gotten used to. Gary's gone missing. His snail's gone missing, and it's been taken to Atlantic City where Poseidon lives. That's it. SpongeBob's got to travel across the ocean to go get him. Randomly, Snoop Dogg shows up, and there's a music video. Keanu Reeves plays a fucking tumbleweed. It's exactly what you want. Tiffany Haddish's in it. Like, it's just kind of, you shut your brain off and go with it, and then all of a sudden you're in a Western bar and Snoop Dogg's rapping to SpongeBob. It's what you want. It's what the people want.
This sounds exactly like Coming to America. At one point, En Vogue and Salt and Pepper, they're singing.
It is.
I'm glad you.
Yeah, except for like I didn't go to Twitter once the singing started.
I wish my SpongeBob was rated R.
Dude, don't get me started. That would be some shit. Just don't I feel like Tom Kenny. If Tom Kenny was able to say the word "fuck" as SpongeBob, that show would be amazing.
I mean, now that the kids are all your age that like I mean, I know kids stayed with it, but you really could have done that. I'm surprised nobody has taken
easily. Like I'm.
Go ahead.
Oh, give it some time. We've got Paramount Plus now. Like anything's possible. Like they have I was just scrolling through because we got it because fuck. And on there they have some like TVMA Star Trek show. So anything's possible. Like literally, if they're gonna go get a little raunchy with Star Trek, we might fuck around with some SpongeBob later. Other than we'll finally get a little more adult. It'll be a lot better than that cursed image of SpongeBob Square Nuts that bounces around the internet.
Oh,
so I think it's some good shit. But no, this movie. If you like SpongeBob, you're gonna like this. If you don't like SpongeBob, this isn't going to change your mind. If you're into this, don't be afraid that it's 3D. It honestly is way better than I thought it would be, and I think if you like this, you'll like it. That's all I got. Us 90s babies, we got SpongeBob. I have a SpongeBob tattoo like on my knee. So got my boy Doodle Bob. So this shit's always coming with me.
Nice. All right, sometime other than now.
Yes, sometime other than now stars Donald Logue and Kate Walsh in a movie about a man who drives halfway across the country to find his daughter that he'd left behind years ago, following the death of the woman he'd had sex with and had given birth to this girl. He goes across the country to try and find her, and along the way, he ends up at this hotel in New England where he begins this sort of tentative romance with Kate Walsh's character, who owns the hotel. And it's really, again, there's a lot of stuff you've seen here before. But I think the key to this movie is the performances, and the performances are very good. I love Kate Walsh. I've been in love with her for years now because I watched every episode of Private Practice, even when that show was terrible, because she's very interesting. And Donald Logue is really very lived in this character. He really feels like he's this guy, and that authenticity carries the day with this. There's an element to this movie where you don't at first know why he's there, and then you're kind of slowly coming to understand why he's there, and his backstory is slowly unveiled, but you never find out why he left. Like there's a scene where the daughter is talking to him about the connection that they had and the moments that they had in their lives where they were like best friends. But we never find out what it was that made him leave. And I thought that's such an interesting thing to leave out. And it comes from the fact that in real life, how often do you really get that moment where somebody, comes right out and says the thing that everybody wants to know? Like, it's just, that's a little thing, but I liked that. I liked the honesty of the romance between him and Kate Walsh. There's a very honest quality to them. They were both they're nearly the same age. So that's a new one for Hollywood as well, in a way. She is a lot more attractive than him, but you can see why women would be attracted to him. So that's all right. This movie does have some issues. Like, it suffers from that idea that any attractive woman is going to want to sleep with a guy like Donald Logue, no matter who they are, no matter what the circumstances are. Because there's a scene late where he meets this bartender who's really super attractive, and you're just like, just don't fuck her. Don't do that. Like, no, every woman he meets who's not related to him wants to sleep with him because that's the director's fantasy. That's fine. I get it. I get it, but I don't mind so much because I like these characters enough.
Have you seen Gotham?
Say what?
Have you seen Gotham?
No.
Have you seen Gotham? Because honestly, I'd probably fuck him.
Have you seen our classic?
I didn't, but I lived that movie, so it scared me.
All right, let's just head over there now. I'm going to play the clip. You guys won't be able to hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event for the linear, legitimate, and universally recognized, undisputed classic.
The Tao of Steve.
Yes, filmed by Jennifer Goodwin, who, strangely enough, she and one of the stars of the movie, Greer Goodwin, is actually related to the director of Sometime Other Than Now, oddly enough. And this character that Donald Logue plays in Tao of Steve is it could be like a much younger version of the character he plays in Sometime Other Than Now. They're almost like sequels in a way. The Tao of Steve is basically just this guy who used to be very popular in college, who's kind of not grown up, kind of a loser, but yet he seems to have a lot of success with women, and his friends want to know, why is that? Why does this guy who has no right to have any kind of appeal to women so consistently appealing to women? And he narrows it down to his belief system, the Tao of Steve, where he talks about everything cool is related back to Steve, whether it's Steve McQueen or other famous Steves. And he talks about how he's got various different theories about why or what attracts women, and it apparently works for him. Garth is going to change because he meets a woman who is more appealing than most. It crosses a bunch of his lines that he has about his philosophy, and that leads him in a different direction to perhaps have a future and grow up. And it's well done. He's such an interesting character, and he's such a funny guy. And he's an appealing person in some ways and a not very appealing person in other ways. And I think the main thing about this movie that is so appealing is that he feels like somebody you know. He talks like your friends do. He acts like your friends do. And I think that's the great appeal of this movie.
I think it could have worked without the cliche of here's the rule system and follow this. And I think the acting and, like you said, the way he talks, that like needs someone you know. I think you could have done just a talking, a Kevin Smith-like movie or Richard Linklater, some of those type. With this character, you could have thrown out that cliche and still had a real conflict in a real movie that would have worked better. I mean, it still works.
Right.
They overcome it, but it could have been something really special if you didn't have to have that cliche. That's the only thing that kind of had me like, I've never met anybody that had a list. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. The guys I have met are like, they're few and far between, and they're total pieces of shit, and they don't look like him. But they do act like him, I guess.
Yeah.
But it does work because he is very good at playing this character. Like, I didn't see the other movie, but based on the trailer, he did look like the same character. And I've seen him in other things, and he's played versions of this before. He's good at playing himself, I guess, in a way. Maybe he's nothing like this, but he's good at this in this lane, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Definitely watchable. Have you ever seen it, Zach, or no?
No, I actually hadn't heard about it, but Sean mentioned it to me. I looked up the trailer, and I unfortunately didn't have enough time to check it out because it did seem like something I would have been into, because I do like him a lot. He's real good playing the schlubby guy. The type, I guess schlubby would maybe be the word for it, but I don't know. That kind of just like thing that he's got going on for him.
And this is kind of his breakout role, right?
I didn't check it out.
Yeah, it's worth seeing. It's very watchable, very well directed, and
the point you made though about conflict earlier, I wanted to point out that just to underline your point, the way that they arrive at the point where they divide him from the woman he's begun to fall in love with is a highly cliched scene, because it involves people. It's like the one scene in the movie that involves people talking like you would not talk in a group situation. One of his buddies, who he's been talking to throughout the movie and trying to teach him about his philosophy, so his buddy could use that philosophy to meet a woman. He walks in while our character Dex is talking to this woman that he loves, and he starts just going in about, oh man, your philosophy works, and he goes into the whole thing. Yeah, he taught me about how to sleep with women. Like, who would do that in front of his buddy's girl that he's there with? Like, there's just nobody would talk like that. And that scene, it strikes a very false note.
Yeah, and the scene where he gives out, where he talks about the Tao of Steve, it's a good scene, but someone like that's not all. I mean, he's gonna say that half kidding, He's gonna have a little bit of, I don't know. You're right, and because it leads to that later on, that scene you're talking about. I just think you could have at least toned the cliche down a little bit, because you know where it's gonna go, and because of that, it's. I hate people so much. Anybody on YouTube can see if assholes keep walking up and down the stairs today. But no,
your point is made even by this poster, because why do women find this man irresistible? And right there, you have a very workable story that doesn't need that cliche or gimmick, not cliche, but a gimmick. It doesn't need the gimmick, because you've got an interesting question there.
Right, and the fact, I mean, just the girl that he falls for, he'd actually been with her in college, and he forgot.
Yeah.
And that alone is a great premise and scene. You could have built off of that instead of this rule system. But the rule system's not, it doesn't carry the movie by any stretch. It's just there. And this movie definitely overcomes it because of the acting and the dialogue and the chemistry between the actors. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I liked it a lot too, but you're absolutely right about the conflict and about that gimmick.
Mm-hmm. 1991, New Jack City. I'd never seen this until this weekend.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot.
And early on in the podcast, you guys all know, or Zach probably doesn't know, I kept praising this movie called Who's His Man, like the first couple of years. Why I got to that one and not this? I mean, that one's way more funny. This one's way better, way more well done. I mean, it's a little over the top, but I can't believe I never saw this.
New Jack City stars Wesley Snipes as a crime boss who uses crack to rise to the top of the drug world in New York. Ice-T and Judd Nelson are cops who are assigned to try and take him down, and Chris Rock is a crack addict who they use to get them to the inside. And I think a lot of this movie is very good. There's other elements of it that is some of it's just so stuck in the night. It's just so of its time that it doesn't really. It feels like a cliche only now because of everything that came after.
Because it created the cliche, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I was like watching this going, I can't believe how many times I've recalled back to scenes in this, like, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am, or all that stuff. Like just the times where my friends and I would refer to this movie without even thinking about it. And yet there's the elements of this that are really good. Like Wesley Snipes is unbelievably great. Like he is just so believable as this just evil bastard who's just consumed by cash and women and the lifestyle. Is just brilliant, and you do want to see him get his comeuppance. Ice-T feels like he's in a different movie. Like he feels like he's like an after-school special at times when he's talking about crack and cocaine, and it's Ice-T who, you've heard him rap about this stuff, and then to hear him talk about, the evils of crack, he comes off like he's in an after-school special with some of his dialogue, and that's really a weird dynamic that kind of throws off the movie to me. He's authentic, and I mean, you feel like Ice-T's played a cop for 35 years now.
I think I want to stop you there because I think I didn't notice that, but I bet at the time, it definitely, because you said he's been playing a cop ever since, Cop Killer. He's been playing a cop nonstop since then, and I'm so used to that when I go, I thought he was awesome in this. But to your point, if I watched this in '91, it definitely would have been kind of odd. I mean, even like a movie like Heat. That De Niro Pacino thing, definitely Snipes and Ice-T have that here, and clearly Heat comes 10 years later or whatever. It's what I think I get. What kind of keeps this from being like a great classic movie is how cool it is. Wesley Snipes is very cool. Ice-T and Judd Nelson are cool and Mario Van Peebles are cool looking cops. I think that element of cool kind of keeps it from being, perfect or great, but it definitely rides that cool. I mean, it's definitely cool, a cool movie. Chris Rock is really, really good. His voice is perfect for the character he's playing here. Normally, his voice can be a distraction unless he's being full on comedy. But I was kind of shocked at how good he was in this and how young he was.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's like he's parodying. It's like he played this character as a parody in "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," and then he does this version of it as a serious character.
But I mean, I can't sit here and be like, I love Heat. It's a fun, awesome movie, and then say that this isn't. This is definitely a fun, good movie based in a reality. Kind of heightened, I guess, but the stuff does exist, and I don't know. I was kind of blown away at how good it was.
I wonder why people don't refer back to this a little bit more. I'm a little bit surprised that 30 years later, New Jack City isn't remembered, much better than it is. It's kind of curious why this movie doesn't have the legacy that other movies have.
If I had to guess, it's probably a inadvertent racism type of thing. Boys in the Hood comes out a little while later, and that's kind of the one they go back to Friday. And these aren't movies really at all really alike, but they probably get lumped together. I mean, even me making the "Who's the Man" joke earlier, I mean, that's nothing like this movie either, but they have black characters in it, so and back then you got like one of these movies a year, and so that it's just kind of a inadvertent racism, I think.
So Zach, this movie is older than you are. What do you know about New Jack City?
I feel like I've seen it. Like I vaguely remember watching this on like TNT or something back in the day. But I'm actually I've got it pulled up on Vudu right now. I'm most likely going to buy it because we watch a lot of SVU around here, and I would love to see.
This is the genesis of that character. Yeah.
I need more. Like I said, I know I feel like I've seen this, like, because as you guys have been talking about it, like more and more shit starting to pop back into my head. Because this is definitely a young Zach movie. I love watching shit like this. So I'm definitely. I
would be
on it again.
I hate Scarface, and I think I wish more people would refer to this instead of Scarface because this is way better movie than Scarface.
This is definitely influenced by Scarface, though. But I agree with you. I think this does a better job. I mean, that the way Scarface, they built him up to be like this god, or I mean, he was too cool. Like to me, in this, you're not wanting to be Wesley Snipes. You're Ice-T. You're chasing Wesley Snipes, and in Scarface, you're wanting to be Tony Montana. That courtroom scene at the end of this is fantastic. I mean, it's very based in reality. The disappointment. I mean, I love how this movie ends, and then you kind of get the over the top, definitely influenced by Scarface ending, but done in a better way, in my opinion.
And that's the thing, is that this movie knows who its bad guy is. That's really, they don't, as awesome as Wesley Snipes is, and he's incredible in this movie. The charisma is off the charts throughout this movie, but he's the bad guy. There's no coloring the lines. There's no pretend here. Ice-T is the good guy. Wesley Snipes is the bad guy, and it does not cross that line.
Yeah, and they even go into why he's the bad guy and what's wrong with this world that made him the bad guy, without it turning into Scarface, which is, I mean, and it's true. I mean, that's definitely the way this country works. Definitely leads certain people to the life of drugs and stuff because they can't make money elsewhere. But he's definitely not. He's not the victim. He does some horrible, horrible things. Another movie I've never seen, but I couldn't find, is Nikita.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I've not seen this one in a long time. I've only really seen the remake, and I would have loved to have seen this.
It was not available.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And then I have seen The Hard Way, but I don't got much to say about it.
For Zach, this movie stars Michael J. Fox as an actor who's learning to be a cop by working with a real cop played by James Woods, and that's the premise. He's going to learn.
God.
He's going to learn the hard way. Get it? You get it?
They may not understand weed, but Hollywood understands in titles. They got that shit perfect. Fuck, man. Fuck, it was bleak before 93.
Well, was this that era where Michael J. Fox is trying to go more rated R and he's doing less of the PG movies? He had a couple other, I can't think of the names of them.
It's possible.
I mean, he wasn't trying that hard, but he definitely wasn't sticking to the regular Alex P. Keaton stuff. All right, but that is our show, I guess. Next week, we got Cherry on Apple TV, Yes Day on Netflix. We probably won't watch that if more come out because that's a kid's movie. And then Kid 90 on Hulu, which I'm actually excited about. I was watching a trailer about it a trailer and then an interview before you even mentioned we were watching it, so I'm excited we're going to get to that. And because of that, we're going to do the movie Kids, which has a couple tie-ins to it, but also a 90s movie about kids, so it should be a fun show. In 1991, we got Class Action, Guilty by Suspicion, True Colors, If Looks Could Kill, The Perfect Weapon, and The Comfort of Strangers.
They all sound like the same movie.
Yeah. All a little bit bland. It's hard to believe Guilty by Suspicion is De Niro's follow-up to Goodfellas.
That is weird, yeah.
I mean, it's an okay movie, but it's not great by any means. You guys got time for Flick Chart?
Sure.
As I'm trying to find it here somewhere, where is Safari at? There we go.
So I'm pretty hyped about this AEW pay-per-view tonight. This is going to be the shit. The Big Show got signed, and he's like, the AEW.
What's
their
AEW?
pay-per-views tonight.
It's a wrestling show.
All Elite Wrestling.
I'm kidding.
It's a t-shirt company that's blowing up. We've got the Big Show. We've got Chris Jericho.
You're about to get Christian.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah, about to get Christian. I really hope it's not Kurt Angle. He's teasing something on Twitter, and I will cry.
It is.
You think it's Angle?
Give me Bowling
Yeah.
Ray instead. It has to be, but I really don't want it.
It could be Christian.
It's not. He's got a contract.
Give me Renee Young. That apparently that got debunked.
What did?
That Christian got a contract.
Yeah,
Apparently, that
it.
is not
He
actually.
does not have a contract.
It's a one-match deal.
But again, I don't really care. I don't watch YouTube. I just hear about highlights later on.
Yeah.
It's my thing. I got way too into it.
I'm more of a Jim Cornette guy. except for his take on women's matches. I disagree there.
Women's wrestling and Kenny
Yeah.
Omega.
I get what he's saying about Kenny Omega. Anyway, let's get on to the chart. The curious.
This is our version of an exploding barbed wire death match.
Exactly.
Hey man, I'm in, man. I don't even give a fuck.
There's no chance of them dying, so why are they doing it? The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Wedding Crashers.
I'm going to pick Wedding Crashers. I respect Benjamin Button a lot.
I agree completely. I'm assuming you do too.
I strongly hate Benjamin Button. So I'll pick anything over Benjamin Button.
Someday we'll have to watch it just to see if it gets better.
Yeah.
William
Oh, it
Shakespeare's
doesn't.
Romeo and Juliet, Aliens.
Romeo and Juliet.
Aliens.
I don't really like Aliens, but I'll just go with it because I feel like I'm supposed to.
I have not seen Attack of the Crab Monsters, but I wish I had.
Next week's class.
Yeah, that kind of seems like my cup of tea.
Write that one down and be sure to bring it up as well. Pulp Fiction, Crimson Tide.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
The Village, Brick.
Brick.
I've never seen Brick, but I'm not going to pick The Village.
I'll defend The Village, but I like Brick. Misery, Rain of Fire.
Misery, I guess. Rain of Fire is not that great.
Yeah, Misery.
I agree. March of the
Only good thing that came out of Rain of Fire was an Xbox game.
March of the Penguins, Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Vicky Cristina Barcelona. I know. We're not supposed to talk about him, but that's a great movie.
No, I agree. We can talk about him. It just,
I know. I'm making a joke.
I know, but there's still a little bit of reality in that joke. Nothing Lasts Forever, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
I don't know Nothing Lasts Forever.
Do you know Ninja Turtles 3?
Oh, of course, yeah.
The worst of the trilogy.
So that's why I'm waiting to pick The Rock.
Yeah, it's got to be The Rock.
The Rock.
I love the Turtles, but goddamn, that movie sucks.
I do want to see Young Rock, with a young Sean Connery and a young Nicolas Cage. That's what that is, right?
I hope.
That's another TV show I don't know about. Ninja Turtles 2 actually turns 30 in a week or two. So that'll be coming right up. Live and Let Die.
Hopefully, I don't have any high hopes, but I still love that experience of the first one. So
It's definitely not going to live up to that, but it does have Vanilla Ice and Kevin Nash.
It's such a good movie. I love Ninja Turtles too. Secrets of the Ooze.
Live and Let Die, Thunderball.
Thunderball.
Yeah, Thunderball.
I'll go Live and Let Die just for the song. Speed Racer, American Beauty.
Speed Racer.
Yeah, Speed Racer. That's not even a competition. You can't watch American Beauty now. I used to really like that movie. I can't watch that movie. I like that fucking scene in the gym the garage is too goddamn real now.
That's what makes it good. I mean, I still take American Beauty, although I understand what you're saying. Birdman, Back to the Future.
Birdman.
Oh, fuck. I gotta go Back to the Future, but that's a tough one for me.
It's Birdman for me. Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, Sahara. 2 movies no one gives a shit about.
Yeah, truly.
They both suck.
They both suck.
You say
Sahara.
Sean? I'll just go with that so we can move on. Deadpool, There's Something About Mary.
That's tough. That's a tough one. Because I love both those movies. I'd probably watch Deadpool. So I'll go Deadpool.
I'm gonna go Deadpool, but man, that's a good fucking movie.
I agree. I think it's almost due to the recency bias that I'm going Deadpool, but I definitely like Deadpool. And here's two polar opposite movies: Hard Candy or Never Been Kissed.
Hard Candy.
I'm gonna abstain. I don't think I've seen either of them.
You should see Hard Candy. It's fucked up. It's good. Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Starsky and Hutch.
It's a very easy choice, although I will say that Starsky and Hutch should have been funnier. Else, it's a better movie than Transformers. It's not saying much.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's only two good Transformers movies: the 80s cartoon and then Bumblebee. That's it.
All right, I'll give you Bumblebee.
Yeah, that's a good fucking time.
The Amazing Spider-Man Conspiracy Theory.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm going conspiracy theory. I did not like that middle Spider-Man, whatever. Final Destination 3, Chasing Ghosts Beyond the Arcade.
Never heard of that Chasing Ghosts movie.
Pretty fun documentary, but we'll pick a new one. God damn it. Final Destination 3 or The Saint.
Final Destination 3.
Final Destination.
I hate the Final Destination movies. Stuart Little, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Stuart Little.
Stuart Little, man. They adopted a mouse over a child.
and it's slightly less problematically racist.
Yeah. That too.
That's what we should start doing, is just reviewing what's racist and what's not, or which is the least racist of the two movies. Ocean's 12 or RoboCop 3.
That's a tough call for this one. In terms of the racism.
All white people.
Ocean's 12.
Agreed.
I'm going with RoboCop. I'm not a fan of RoboCop 3, but I fucking love RoboCop.
I'll go Ocean's 12. Ex Machina, Spider-Man 3.
It's Ex Machina. All the way. That movie's amazing.
I'm going to say Spider-Man 3, but Ex Machina is a really, it's a better movie. I'd rather watch Spider-Man 3.
I like Ex Machina. I like the watchability of Ex Machina too.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 is fine. I'll defend it a little bit. A lot of people hate that one, but I don't.
It's so funny. It's so fucking funny.
Rocky 4, Griff the Invisible. I've never heard
I don't know what. Yeah, I've never heard of that one either.
Rocky 4, In the Line of Fire.
Rocky 4.
Oh, always Rocky 4.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood more and more. I don't like his movies. I like some of them, but it's getting harder and harder the more he makes them. The Last Samurai, Easy Rider.
Last Samurai. I think Easy Rider is a lot of hippie bullshit.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't think it's either.
I'll go last. Easy Rider is just such
Although, if we go back to the racism scale, it probably goes the other way.
Yeah, although Easy Rider is the most boring.
So boring. Thank you. Yes.
I remember that was one of the movies I saw trying to get into movies. I'm just like, they just ride a motorcycle across the desert. That's all they're doing.
And then that's some things that's all people want.
And apparently there's a 24-hour version of this movie.
Oh God.
Nothing happens. Just hippies.
It's like watching Jerry.
Here's a fun one: The Shawshank Redemption or Saw 2.
All right, I'm gonna. Thankfully, they can't throw things on YouTube. Saw 2.
Saw 2. It's
I think The Shawshank Redemption is the most overrated movie of all time. Doesn't make it a bad movie. It does not make it bad. It's just not nearly as good as everybody acts like it is.
Yeah, and
I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's country music. It's so bland and so easy to like that a wide variety of people can enjoy it.
It's pretty much only existing to fill up an afternoon slot on AMC.
Sean used to say it's like U2 and this stuff. Now he says country music, but he'd always say it's nothing wrong with it, but it's
I like it, but Saw 2 is probably the peak of all the Saw movies. Like I feel like that's like the best Saw movie. Like
I'll one day have to do a Saw ranking because I do love all the Saw movies. Once the new Saw comes out, maybe I'll try that.
are they doing it? Oh yeah, I forgot that one's the one that wasn't like
With Chris Rock.
Yeah. Do we have a release date on that, or is that still getting bounced around?
Still being bounced around. I don't think they've announced anything yet.
I need it.
Yeah, the first three are definitely my favorites, but I think 3 might be my favorite.
33 was gnarly.
Midnight in Paris, The Deer Hunter.
Midnight in Paris.
I'll go Deer Hunter.
I'm gonna go Deer Hunter too. That experience was awesome for me, but that's not taking anything away from Midnight in Paris. The Goonies, Four Brothers. That said, I've never gone back to The Deer Hunter because I know that wedding scene is going to be problematic in terms of watchability. The Goonies, Four Brothers.
Four Brothers for me.
Oh, that one's hard. I might go Four Brothers, but I love me some Goonies.
Well, I'll let you go Four Brothers. I've never seen it, and I'm okay with The Goonies. Glengarry, Glen Ross, 3 to Tango.
Glengarry, Glen Ross.
No, I've not seen either of these.
This is tough for me because I love Glengarry, Glen Ross, but I like threesomes. So let's go Glengarry. Crash, Paperman. What is Paperman?
I don't know. I've not seen Paperman.
Well,
I think it's one of those Disney like short movies.
Well, it won.